Sure. I'm Charlie Nicholas. I work at BDO Adelaide. We're like a big accounting firm down here in Adelaide, and I'm part of the business services team. In business services, we undertake a wide range of accounting, tax, and advisory services for businesses and individuals. So, in terms of my day-to-day, the day-to-day job sees us advising business owners and dealing with high net worth and fast-growing companies. As part of the advice we give, we help business owners, CFOs, and company boards with their financial modelling, which is what you guys are doing, strategic planning, business restructuring, tax planning, and the list goes on. As you can see, as we're working with our clients on a day-to-day basis, the amazing thing for me is that I get to develop strong relationships with these clients, and they put lots of trust in us to do their work, which is awesome. So more of my passions, I've always been someone that loves to help other people. Even before working as an accountant, I was a tennis coach for 5 years, and it became very clear I enjoyed helping other people succeed in what they were doing. The great thing about becoming an accountant was that now I had the opportunity to help businesses and individuals solve tough financial problems, and to see them come out better at the end is something that I'm going to really enjoy doing for the next few years.
Fantastic. Now, how are chartered accountants different makers to you? I know you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but how do they really make a difference in a business context?
Well, I think the main thing is that with the chartered accounting course, they have global expertise. So lots of chartered accountants have skills that they gain when they undertake their studies, which can be applied overseas and can provide significant value to companies that hire them. This is why chartered accountants have such a big international recognition. They're in demand in the UK, in the US. You see a lot of Aussies always go over there to do jobs in different type of industries and markets. I also think that they're opportunistic and problem solvers. So chartered accountants have a wide range of financial skills, from audit to tax and financial accounting. As such, a chartered accountant is able to find hidden opportunities in a company that were never seen before, and can unlock a company's true potential and will allow them to thrive. As well as that, chartered accountants are really flexible. They have an ability to be placed into difficult financial situations across heaps of different industries. It could be from marketing all the way through to accounting and so on. The attraction for me personally in becoming a CA is the wide range of opportunities that are available to me once I complete the course. My accreditation will allow me to become a CFO, work in a major finance team, for Nike or something, or even start my own business. So it's really exciting.
Fantastic. And just on that, I am going to chuck you a bonus question because I'm very interested to know.
Yes.
What drew you to accounting in the first place?
Well, I studied law and commerce at uni, and I personally found that I enjoyed the numbers side and the accounting side way more than the law side. You're working, close with clients all the time, and you're helping them solve, really tough financial problems. And for me, I just found that more rewarding than, the legal side.
Fantastic. No, thank you. All right. So what role does knowing and understanding your finances have in helping set you up for the future, both personally and professionally, especially in your business?
Well, I think you got to start, personally. If you're across on what you're doing on a personal level, you can further understand what businesses require on a day-to-day basis. So both, in my opinion, are interrelated. If you have no understanding of how to take care of yourself, then how you expect to take care for a business's needs throughout their journey. So professionally, I think being able to properly plan and structure your business will allow you to focus on the strategic matters, how the business is going to succeed going forward, rather than being continually caught up on the matters that weren't addressed properly at the start. Going in blind, can lead to strategic error, which can hinder the future success of the company. More in relation to the new businesses, it's so important knowing what is going to occur over the first 12 months. Business expenses can add up, very quickly. And if the business has not considered its finances well enough, cash flows can dry up and the future of the business can be put in jeopardy, which is what can be seen during COVID. People may be going in through this tough stage, not, fully considering what's happening. And with COVID hitting, they may not be properly planned for it, and they can be hit pretty hard. So going on with that, if the business can, understand its finances, it can also understand how far it can push the business limits in terms of future growth and expansion. It also gives a very clear idea of what your quantified objectives are going to be to ensure that you can achieve that company growth. Now, just on what you guys are doing, the importance of being able to do what the students are doing in terms of the profit and loss forecast is so important. If a company is looking to obtain, new financing from the bank or for further investments from its shareholders, the bank or shareholders will often come back and ask for this profit and loss forecast. If you looked at National Australia Bank, they have the exact template that the students will be using. So the ability to understand the type of costs the business incurs and the estimated quantity of these costs can increase the accuracy of your forecast, which in turn ultimately leads to better discussions with the bank or shareholders.
Brilliant. Awesome. So what advice would you give our teams as they begin doing their establishment costs and their forecast profit and loss?
In the relation to the establishment costs, I feel as though the key for any project is planning. With your establishment costs, you need to be absolutely clear first what your business idea and framework is going to be. There needs to be a clear idea about the type of products or services you are providing. But, once you know this, you can start to understand who your customers will be, and for some, who your suppliers will be as well. This then propels you into understanding your margins, and from here you can work into the profit and loss forecast.
Just on that one, before you jump ahead,
Yeah.
because obviously you work with a few different businesses and things like that, do you think there's some common things that people forget about when they're looking at setting up a business? So what are some little things that they might forget?
I think one of the big ones is if they've rented a premises and they go into the premises, they forget about all the furniture that they've got to buy, the fit outs, and all the plant and equipment they've got to put into it, which can be, tens of thousands of dollars. And sometimes that can go missed, or it can just be miscalculated how big the project's actually going to be. And on top of that, you've also got to think about, with some of the loans that you can obtain from the bank, there's a lot of other small fees that add up. So you've got, settlement fees, legal fees. The client doesn't realize at the time how much that's going to be. And I think the last one would relate to the ASIC fees in terms of, registering the business name, the annual company statement. All these costs add up, and they're not cheap.
Brilliant. No, that's absolutely perfect. So hints and tips around profit and loss.
Yes. So for the profit and loss forecast, I personally think it's best to start from the top and work your way down. So on your forecast, you'll see the income and cost of goods sold. I would first look at what your sales will be and the cost of goods sold. It is really important to know your profit margin for these products or services. So if you can determine the profit margin, it is a lot easier to then draw up these profit and loss forecasts. So I'll give you a little example. If my profit margin on a sale is, say, 30% above the cost of goods sold, I determine my cost of goods sold as a percentage of sales at 7%. So let's say for the purpose of the forecast, you estimate $100 worth of sales. Your cost of goods sold is assumed to be 70%, which gives you $70 in cost of goods sold. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So you can apply that on a much bigger scale, which is what we do with high net worth companies. So if we assume that they're going to make $100,000 in sales for March, 70% would be $70,000 in cost of goods sold. And we can just apply that throughout the forecast. When you're starting up any business, it's important to understand that sales may not occur straight away. If it is slow, there needs to be a cash flow that is supporting the initial phase of the business. I know you guys aren't doing a cash flow forecast, but it's just important to understand how much you may be obtaining from the bank in terms of finance facilities. So that facility will help inject cash into the business to fund the initial phases of the business venture. And so then you've also got to think about interest payments and so forth. A little tip with that, have a little look on the different types of loans you can get for the first year. We worked with a company recently where they didn't have to pay any repayments in the first 12 months. So that can help a lot for a small business trying to start, a business venture. Another tip, there are hidden charges and fees that are incurred with obtaining new finance facilities with the bank. You'll have settlement fees of around $500, documentation fees, sometimes even legal fees are on it, about $1,000. It's also very important to understand the type of industry you're going to be in, because that is going to change the costs that will be involved. So, for example, if you're going to develop a new product, you may need to think about costs such as trademarks, patents, research and development costs, and these aren't certainly cheap. When you're thinking about rent, I think I've already discussed this, but think about the type of stuff that will be going into the premises. So plant equipment, furniture, all the fit outs. This is going to add up, not going to be cheap. So small businesses definitely need to think about this. For the establishment costs, important to consider ASIC. So go onto their website. This is a little bit of a hint as well. Go onto their website and you'll see all the fees that they have for starting a new business. For some of the teams that are looking to develop a new product, look on the government websites for any grants, so government grants, because this can be included in the profit and loss as income and will help give you a bit of a cash boost along the way. We deal with a lot of clients during COVID to get business support grants of $5,000 to $25,000, which can obviously certainly help pay for costs along the way if there is a stage where times are getting tough. That's about it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, getting towards the end, do you have any hints and tips for our teams as they start researching their finances? So how do you find your information kind of thing?
Well, I use the ATO website a fair bit. I guess I am a graduate accountant, so even for me, with my job, I'm still learning all the time. And, you can't always go to your manager. So the best thing to do is go onto the ATO website. They give you really clear outlines of what goes in the profit and loss, small business expenses that are deductible, so which will go on your profit and loss as well. The ASIC website will be really important for you guys for starting the business. They'll be in your establishment costs. So I'd really go onto the ASIC website, maybe search in ASIC fees for starting a new business, and you'll find everything. And then also look on Revenue SA website to find out all the grants that you may have for South Australia. If you're in another state, look on the Commonwealth website as well for any grants that may be available. In terms of getting guidance, I'd say a big tip is to make sure you use the most of the mentor that you're talking to. They'll give you a good insight into what costs will be incurred. Even for me, my managers and stuff are my mentors, and they're honestly invaluable. In terms of preparing your profit and loss forecast, to start with necessity, just what is absolutely vital for the business in terms, it may be rent, It may be research and development, and from there, just work your way down to the finer little details.
Awesome. Now, my last question is, what is one last word of wisdom or inspiration or go get 'em you would like to leave with our teams?
Well, just keep working hard on these concepts. It may seem really difficult right now, but you'll definitely be better for it by the end. And who knows, one day you might be running your own company.